Take it away.
Okay, I need to hit, got it? Okay. I woke up this morning with my mind stayed on spirit.
What are you doing?
Getting a message. I'm woke up this morning with my mind stayed on spirit. I woke up this morning with my mind stayed on spirit. Hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah. I'm so thankful that my mind is stayed on spirit. I'm so thankful that my mind is stayed on spirit. I'm so thankful that my mind is stayed on spirit. Hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah.
Well, yes, I am very grateful that my mind has stayed on spirit. And this morning, our practitioner of the day is Reverend Leslie Massopust, and I'm going to invite her to begin our service with an invocation or an opening prayer. Welcome, Leslie.
Please join me in consciousness as we give thanks for this beautiful, wondrous day that is unfolding before us. We know that it is the same power that creates the flowers and the trees and all of nature that created us. And we are thankful for that. We know it is this same power that enables us to see the beauty that is all around us, to partake of the health of the universe, and to be at one with that divine presence in the world. And we give thanks for all of those that are looking at that power in presenting this morning's Sunday service. For we know that they are allowing that God presence to express through them with each of their unique donations to this service. And we say thank you. It's as if Spirit has come knocking at our door, and we open it, and it says, I have something to share with you. You may not have heard before, that is going to add great wealth to your life. And to this we say, we are ready. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So we let it happen, we let it be, and so it is. Our quote this morning comes from Deepak Chopra, and it says, the more clarity you achieve, the more you find the universe is on your side, supporting your thoughts and your intentions. Therefore, focus on clarity, not on getting results. The results will come according to their own rhythm and timing. And so let's take this time to go into the silence for a couple of minutes, thinking about what our intentions are and the clarity that we wish to have happen with them. Let us now come back into the Zoom room as we say April's affirmation. Whatever I need comes to me from the all good. Divine intelligence working through me always knows just what I need and supplies it when I need it. I receive my good daily as I go along the path of life. My birthright is freedom and happiness, and so it is. And now we are ready for a special song from Richard.
Great to be here. And I love this topic, Boldly Go. Not only Star Wars, but I mean, being your authentic self and finding out who that is the idea. Olivia sent me this little quote she got on Facebook. And maybe some of you have seen this one. It goes like this. It says, eat the damn chocolate cake, walk in the rain and splash in the puddles, ride with the windows down, dance, sing, talk to strangers, smile at everyone, hug someone, go barefoot, take naps, make lots of love, try new things, spend time with kids, laugh every chance you get, help others, live life to the fullest, no regrets. Life is way too short. Enjoy it. Something from Daniel Nahman, Planting Seeds. The joy is not knowing what to expect, but something wonderful will happen. I've been planting seeds on the ground, watering them with my sweat and tears, scattering them all around. Guess it's what I'm supposed to do with my ears. Funny thing is, I may know what I've planted, but never what will grow, what will show. It always seems to be a perfect mystery. Whatever grows will grow, whatever dies will die, whatever works will work, whatever flies will fly, whatever fails will fail, what's meant to soar will soar. I am planting seeds, nothing more. Sometimes I like to pretend I know what the harvest will be, but I always find out in the end it was never really up to me. Whoa. Funny thing is, when I just do my work and simply trust, it always seems that life is looking out for me. Whatever grows will grow, whatever dies will die, whatever works will work, whatever flies will fly, whatever fails will fail, what's meant to soar will soar. I am planting seeds, nothing more. And I am only one of billions of seeds. When all is said and done, I just do what's mine to do and let it be. Now there's a recipe. Whatever grows will grow. Whatever dies will die. Whatever works will work. Whatever flies will fly. Whatever fails will fail. What's meant to soar will soar. I am planting seeds, nothing more. I am planting seeds, nothing more. Nothing more.
Thank you so much, Richard. Isn't that the truth? That's why I asked him to play that song, is to, as we wind up our theme, our monthly theme. Isn't that really what we do? We plant seeds. We're always planting seeds, and I think it's wise to remember that's what we're doing. So good morning. Welcome to One Heart, One Mind Center for Spiritual Living's online Sunday service. And as I was saying, this Sunday we close out our monthly theme on creativity. And we've defined creativity this month as the ability to transcend traditional, I think is what the dictionary said. I would say maybe outdated ideas and rules, patterns, relationships, or the like, whatever it is, and to create meaningful new ideas and forms and methods and interpretations. Creativity really is the releasing of the old and moving into something new, something fresh and meaningful. Creativity is a shift and an expansion of our perspective, an expansion of our thoughts and our feelings and our beliefs into what's possible, into that great field of infinite possibility, something new. Just like an artist or a sculpture takes a hunk of clay and creates a beautiful statue, a musician takes notes and makes them into something harmonious. A seed brings forth that pattern that is already within it. This is all creativity. And we take old ideas and beliefs and feelings and we bring new meaning to them, new possibilities. We too bring forward that pattern that the seed has within it. Ernest Holmes called it the seed perfection. And that's all already within each and every one of us. And that renews and reshapes our lives. That's creativity. That's the continual process of creativity that's always happening. And then I talked about this past month. I talked about how the nature of God, the nature of spirit, the divine presence is to create. And it never stops creating. It never stands still. It's always moving in and through all of its creation. And we are its creation. And I also invited us to remember that since we are one with the creative power of the universe, that we are creators too. We're creating our own lives all the time through our thoughts and our beliefs and the feelings that we hold. Whether we're doing it consciously or unconsciously, we are always creating. And whatever is written, whatever pattern is on our individual subjective mind outpictures as our lives. And I also talked about this month that there is within us, within each and every one of us, an intuitive knowing, a wise inner voice, that's always available to us for guidance and inspiration. And that we can develop the ability, we can hone the skill of listening to that wise inner voice, and then finally last week on Easter Sunday and our celebration of Passover, I spoke to the idea that because divine wisdom is always available to us, and because we can consciously participate with creative law, we're empowered to transcend the challenges and the circumstances of our lives, and to always create more good, something better. We can always move into and expand into something new. We talked about how we can resurrect our lives and transcend any circumstance, event, or situation that we encounter in our life. And as we draw on this connection to our divine wisdom, when we're listening to that inner wisdom, that inner voice, there we are planting new seeds, just like the song invited us to do. We plant new seeds in consciousness, and we're instilling a new pattern on our subjective mind that will outpicture in our world. You know, we can plant the seed of a new idea, a new feeling, a new intention, and we plant that in our mind and our heart, and it moves into our body, becomes our being. And then we can move boldly into action. And here's what I was really excited about today's talk. I was talking about this before the service, is we've talked about how we are one with this divine presence, how it's always creating, how we can consciously create. And now with that intention, we are called to move into action, which brings us to today's talk, which is boldly go. And Richard was saying earlier, and I don't know about you, but I cannot say boldly go without thinking of James T. Kirk traveling across the cosmos. I don't know if any of you are old Trekkies, but I am. So Ernest Holmes, our founder, told us that one of the great challenges of the science of mind philosophy is that we might be tempted to indulge too much in theory and not enough in practice. And I know I've said this before to y'all, but I completely understand that tendency. You know, it's much easier to talk about the benefits of meditation or the benefits of spiritual mind treatment than to actually sit down and do it every day. I don't know about you, but I can always find reasons to become distracted. But when I do, everything shifts for me. When I do, I am called to listen to that divine intuition, to intuit what is mine to do. And in Sinners for Spiritual Living, I know we often use that old West African proverb, pray and move your feet. I actually thought it was an old Shaker saying, but I looked it up when I wrote it down this week, and it's actually a West African proverb. And it tells us that while it's important to connect with the source of divine wisdom, it's just as important to act on that divine wisdom. And of course, as we move into what we're called to do, we boldly move, I should say, into what we're called to do when we sincerely and passionately feel what we're called to do, what's on our hearts, let's say. Then when we're really passionate and inspired to do something, then everything falls into place for us. Have you ever noticed that when you know this is yours to do, that things line up, that synchronicities happen, and the way is really made forward to you or for you? There's a beautiful quote that I wrote it down. There's this beautiful quote. I'm sure you all know that book, The Little Prince. It was written by a French poet named Antoine de Saint-Exupéry. And he wrote this quote that I just love. I actually thought about putting it on as the signature of my email because I love it so much. But he said, if you want to build a ship, don't herd people together to collect wood, and don't assign them tasks and work, but rather teach them to long for the endless immensity of the sea. Oh, can you feel that? Teach them to long for the infinite immensity of the sea. And boy, won't you want to build your boat after that to get out onto the infinite immensity of the sea? You know, and that's the purpose of divine wisdom. It's to light us on fire with the inspiration and the passion of what is ours to do. I remember when I became a teacher, and a minister really for that matter, I felt this passion about what I knew was mine to do. I'd been playing teacher ever since I was a little kid, and that nothing that I perceived as an obstacle was bigger than my desire and my call to move into action, to make that happen. Our part is to fall in love with the vision we have for our lives and for our world, so that nothing seems too big to get in our way. When we fall in love with peace and compassion and kindness and justice and equality, whatever it is that we need to draw on to go into bold action, when we fall in love with that, the way is made clear. It just is. What we need is always available to us. And when we have that passionate connection, that knowing that this is ours to do, it will show up. Did you ever see that film? It's an Indiana Jones film. It's Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade. It's the one where Indiana Jones and his father set off on a quest to find the Holy Grail. There's always a story about finding the Holy Grail. And I have to admit, I didn't really think it was one of the best of the Indiana Jones films, but it really had some great moments, some great scenes. And one of them was near the end of the movie. Indiana's father lay dying, and the only thing that will save him is water from the cup of Christ. That's the only thing that would save him. Of course, that's the Holy Grail. But there was just one problem. Indiana Jones had to weave his way through. He had to solve all of these. He had to, I think it was 3 difficult puzzles. They were life-threatening puzzles. He had to do those. And so he made his way through the first 2, and then the final test was the most difficult. And I love this visual. You may have seen it. He had to take a step across this open ravine, this great chasm. There was no footbridge, there was no rope ladder. There was just this wide open chasm that fell into nothingness. And Indy, he finds his courage, he musters up his courage, and he demonstrates his faith by stepping out. And once he stepped out, a bridge appeared beneath his feet. I love that visual. The way was made clear. And of course, at the end of the movie, his father was saved. He found the Grail, blah, blah, blah. But it was his faith that in which, and his action, boldly moving into action in that faith, that made everything line up, and the lesson is that when we feel divinely guided to take certain action, when we fall in love with the sea, when we fall in love with the idea of our new vision, the vision that we have for our life, the call that's on our heart to create something new, then everything lines up to support us. I've seen this happen over and over in my own life. I've seen it happen in other people's lives. The path is made clear. It's like that quote that Reverend Leslie shared with us this morning, focus on clarity, not on getting results. The results will come according to their own rhythms and timing. We fall in love with the new possibility. We develop a trust and a faith in spirit, in life, in law. And I have a mentor. It's actually Sharon Hudson, has been my mentor for many years. And she always tells me to trust the process. Trust the process, she would say. Still does. And trust is definitely, I would call it my growing edge. I tend to think I have to do everything myself. Do you ever do that? I have to organize and plan everything. And I ran across this other quote that it's by a woman named, what's her name? Her name is Gloria Karpinski. And it's a quote about trust. And I thought, oh, that's it. I don't have to. It really reminds me that I don't have to control everything. I don't have to make everything happen. And the quote is, trust will give you everything you need to ascend the mountain. Once you're there, it shows you the grand view. Then says, jump. I love that. Then you have to jump. Once the way is clear, we have to jump. We have to follow through. I think I told you the story about the time when I decided that, yes, I was definitely going to get my teaching credential. I was going to become a teacher. And that day I looked on the online program. Well, I looked online for the program for the school that I wanted to attend, which was Dominican University. And that very night, they were having an open house for the credential program that I wanted to attend. But here's the thing, I had to go to the open house. Nothing would have happened if I didn't go. I had to jump. So yes, we can be led through our divine intuition, but we have to boldly go. We have to follow through. And maybe even more important than falling in love with our call or our new vision or that something that's beckoning us is to fall in love with ourselves, to see within ourselves the beauty of the divine presence of who we are. What's that line about God doesn't make junk? And even with all the flawed human beings on planet Earth, I still think that's true. Everything, every living person, everyone on the planet, all life has that potential within them, that seed perfection, that call to be here and to do what they are individually here to express. And it's all different. And, once we recognize that we live in an infinite field of potential where anything is possible, that means that our unlimited vision can and will, it has no choice, produce good, produce what we're holding. The seed we're planting will germinate and bloom. And along with our recognition of this infinite potential, we have to understand that everyone, everything has this greater truth within them. And it's here for us to realize it and to express it. We have to move into action. We have to boldly go. You might remember, I'm always looking, whenever I'm doing a talk, I'm always looking for wonderful examples to express or that illustrate the idea of today. It's boldly go. But you might remember that movie that came out. It was in 2010. It was called Temple Grandin. And it's a true story. She's a real person. And Dr. Temple Grandin, she's one of the top scientists in the humane livestock handling industry. That's a mouthful. And she has a PhD in animal science, and she's a professor at Colorado State University. I think she still is. And she's authored like 6 books, and 2 of them have been bestsellers. And she's autistic. She learned to love about herself what most people would consider a disability, her autism. And I read that she said that autism is a part of who I am. She fell in love with that part of her that most people would say, oh, poor thing. She loved that about herself. Her disability was the gift that allowed her to understand and to translate animals. And because of her love for her calling, her dedication to her calling, to the vision that she held for her life, she changed the entire livestock handling industry. She turned it into a much more humane industry. And she did not let anything get in her way of acting boldly, of boldly going. And I've shared before with you that I'm a big fan of asking ourselves really empowering questions. I think it opens us up to what is possible for us and what can be. Questions that lead us into new ways of thinking and feeling and being. Questions that open us up to possibility, to help us create something new. So we might ask ourselves questions like, what is it that I naturally love doing? And when I'm not doing it, that's all I'm thinking about. What is that thing that we really, really love? Maybe it's just being outdoors, or maybe we just can't get enough of reading or learning new things or watching airplanes fly or growing roses or collecting old things, bookkeeping, baking, playing with the dogs. It doesn't matter. Whatever that is that's upon your heart, that's a clue as to what is calling us forward to something new in some way. Or we can ask questions like, is there something I do that when I'm doing it, I lose myself in the experience? I remember the first time I ever had the experience of losing time. I was what am I trying to say? I was putting flowers together. I was arranging flowers. I actually was a florist for a while. And I loved it so much. Everything else just kind of faded away. Are there things, is there something that you do that when you're doing it, you're so in it, it draws you so clearly into the moment that time just stands still. You forget that you're even doing anything other than this thing that you love, and it could be anything. Maybe it's just playing with the grandkids, or I don't know, maybe it's fixing wobbly old chair legs on old furniture. Maybe it's going into the kitchen and creating something new from nothing, or what appears to be nothing. It's just another clue for us about what we're here to do, what makes our heart sing. What is that one thing that makes our heart sing more than anything else? Maybe it's singing. I remember when I first came to One Heart, One Mind, when we were over in Sorrento Valley, it was right about the time that Colette Thomas, you may know who she is, if you've been around for a while, she was just getting to the place where she felt comfortable singing on her own. And boy, has she come into her own over the last few years. She's really begun to shine. And as she came into her own, sharing her gift with others, you could just see her confidence blossom, and her entire life changed. Since I've known her, her entire life is completely different than it was. And I don't know what that thing is for you, but it could be anything. Maybe it's social activism, or feeding the homeless, or volunteering at an animal shelter. For me, it's probably gardening, or growing flowers, or giving a Sunday message, and growing and expanding our spiritual center to teach and to serve more and more people so they can live better lives, because I have so much passion about the science of mind philosophy and what it teaches and the way it has changed my life. And these questions just lead us into clues, the clues that invite us to ask ourselves, what is mine to do? What should I step boldly into? Just knowing what you love, knowing who you are and what you care about, and what you're drawn to. It kind of creates that sense of sacred self-awareness. And when we have that, we realize that our purpose really isn't about even doing the thing that we're called to do. It isn't really about our livelihood, our career, or anything that we're really doing. Our purpose is love, and that whatever it is that we're called to do moves us in joyously to a connection with love. And when we boldly do what we know, what we're called to do, we share that love. We share it with the world. We share it with ourselves. We share it with each other. We share who we are. Sometimes I get kind of carried away and I post pictures of my garden or flowers or something on my family text thread, or even on Facebook. And sometimes I've almost felt embarrassed about doing it, because I question myself, oh, they're going to think I'm crazy posting flowers, but why should I feel embarrassed about being who I am and doing what I love? I think it's through our courage, and Brené Brown speaks to this really well. It's about our courage to be vulnerable that we get the good stuff. Here's where we really share our love, and here's where we really share our joy. When we take that risk of being true to our creative desires, our intuitive sparks, our imagination, the dreams that we hold in our imagination. I have found that when I drop that knowing it all attitude, like I've got it all together and, oh, well, I've been there, done that. I know all about that. When I drop that attitude, you know what I'm talking about? And I open up to understanding that I know really nothing, then the possibilities that are inherent within me have that opening, that avenue to create something new. You have to let go. It's that whole thing about releasing the old so that we move into the new, into the now. And when I know that I don't really know everything, that's when I get those new impulses, those new callings. That's when we find what's ours to do. Does that make sense? You know, one of the things that I've learned through ministry is that the actual power of ministry, and this is true for teaching too, is hidden in my ability to be vulnerable. It's hidden in my ability to not know and to stay open and to always go to spirit first for more, for information, for my wisdom. And I think that's true for every profession or really any area of human endeavor, you know. What's his name? That metaphysical author and teacher, Charles Raymond Barker, he has this beautiful quote that I love that I'm going to share with you. He said, he wrote in his book, The Science of Successful Living, actually, he wrote, the full symphony of your real self can only be heard when all the windows of your mind are open to the fullness of life. I'm going to read that again because it's really beautiful. The full symphony of your real self can only be heard when all the windows of your mind are open to the fullness of life. When we drop what we think we know and we open ourselves to the wisdom that is already within us. You know, that is when we really get who we are and what we've come here to do and to be. And I don't think that we could actually talk about living boldly without at least mentioning Helen Keller. You know, talk about falling in love with your life's vision and being passionate about what you want to do to move past any obstacle. I mean, the woman was amazing. And I remember I read a little bit about her as I was preparing for today's talk. And she said, life is a grand adventure or nothing at all. She certainly demonstrated that in her life. And I'm sure you know who you are. I'm not who she is. I'm not going to get into great detail about her, but you know, she was an author. She was a disability rights advocate. She was a political advocate and activist. And she was a lecturer, you know, and the story is that she lost her sight when I think she was 19 months old through, actually, they weren't exactly sure which illness it was, but she lost her sight and her hearing. And it wasn't until she had this wonderful teacher named Anne Sullivan that she really stepped into her own. She became the first deaf-blind person to earn a bachelor's degree. It was from Harvard, no less. She became the first deaf-blind person to learn English, French, German, Greek, and Latin. She worked for the American Foundation for the Blind, and she traveled all over the world advocating for people with vision loss. I mean, really, she could not hear or see, and she did all this. And she said, what was it she said? She said, one can never consent to creep when one feels an impulse to soar. And soar she did. Talk about boldly going. And here's the power in her story. It was that impulse to create, to allow that seed perfection within her to germinate and to bloom. You know, and that same seed perfection is in you, and it's in me, and it's in all of us. And that's what we have in common. When it comes to taking bold action in the world, we hold Spirit's hand. We are one with this divine presence that wants to move through us. You know, and we all walk this human journey with each other. We all walk it together. But when it comes right down to taking action, we have to do that individually. We hold Spirit's hand. It's our experience that we must move into what feels like alone, but really we're only doing it with God, with Spirit, with the all that is. You know, we come together in community, like on Sunday service, in our classes, we come together and we share our experiences, we share our love. But in our moments of boldness, when we really move into what is ours to do, it is God and us. It is the power of creative energy and us. And it takes that courage and passion and love of what it is we're called to do to move us into that action, to follow through with where we're divinely guided. So that was a lot to say this morning, but I think that it's time for us to think outside the box, to live outside the box. Heck, it's actually not just time for us to think outside the box, it's time for us to get rid of the entire box, the whole darn box, to recycle it and repurpose the whole thing, you know, and to move into something new. We have to look at what our individual box is, where we feel boxed in, or what we're, the old thing that we keep doing over and over that isn't allowing us to move into something fresh. And we bless the old box and we let it go and we move into a more creative life, into what is calling us forward in our creativity and our imagination and our passion. We move into that. So I'm going to invite you this week to look at what your box might be. You know, what is holding me back? What is keeping me here? And to look at what it is you're called to do, to ask yourself those empowering questions and to fall in love with not only yourself, but your vision for your life and for the world in general. I'm inviting you to be bold, to dare to show up in a new way, to be creative in a bold new way. You know, and it can be something small and, you know, just something easy that you do when you're walking down the street, or it can be some bold action that you've been longing to take for a long time. And I invite you to start by finding one thing in the next hour, in the next day, in the next 2 days. Find one thing that you would like to change, that you have been wanting to do, and go for it. Be bold. God is bold. God is you. You are called to be bold. So be bold. Be bold this week. So let's move into a spiritual mind treatment, into prayer. I invite you to take a nice deep centering breath. And to know with me that within you, there is only God. And that presence, that power, that creative energy, that infinite creative field of potential is calling us forward to do and be the things that we love to do and be, to honor who we are, to honor our gifts, to honor our talents, to explore in depth who and what we are in our own divinity in this creative life force that is moving through us. So I speak my word for and about each and every person that is present here on this call, and each and every person that is just within the sound of my voice, even if it's on the recording of this Sunday morning service, and to invite, allow a shift in consciousness, an opening for a new way of being, for a new way of being you, for a new way of being bold and stepping into the loving power and presence that is within you, the seed perfection, as Ernest Holmes called it, and to allow that to take root and to grow and to expand. It is so good. And I am so grateful for the ability to co-create with this divine presence, with divine law, with each and every one of you, with the oneness of the divine life. I just relax in that in gratitude. I know that this gratitude opens us up even more to create the boldness of life. I allow that to be. I release it into the capable hands of law, and together we say, and so it is. And so it is. I need to take a drink of water. So go boldly. And I don't recall who is doing the benediction today. Relaine, is it you?
Yes.
Okay, I thought so. Thank you. So I'm going to invite you to do our time of conscious giving, and I am going to hand it over.
All right. Thank you, Michelle. So this is a time of sacred giving, and it's a very special time to give. And giving and receiving are really one motion, one movement. And so as we give to one heart, one mind, we also receive. And so I invite everyone to give and open up their consciousness to feel that experience of giving and receiving, all that inspires you. And we have a little affirmation to share. Okay, yes. Also to give, Venmo is a great way, and you can Venmo at One Heart, One Mind Center. You can mail a check to Jim Massopust, and his address is usually in the chat room if you'd like to do it that way. And then here's our affirmation: sacred giving. I recognize that all supply flows from the divine givingness of spirit. My gift is a continuation of this divine flow. I give and receive from this infinite supply, and I give in faith and love and joy, and it flows back to me in kind, and so it is.
Thank you, Relaine. Yvonne, do you want to do the announcements?
Sure. We start off with Monday and our evening prayer group from 6 to 6:20. And we come together and pray silently for our center. And it's really a pleasant experience. I would really encourage people to come. It's just such a short time, and it's really a wonderful way to spend the time with other people that think like we do. And on Tuesday evening, we have a Zoom meeting, and Reverend Michelle is going to lead us in a real lively discussion, because she always does make them lively, based on an essay of Ernest Holmes, which was titled "The World of Experience," from the Science of Mind discussion group, her program. And she's going to send out, it's just the one page, yeah, she's holding it up, just a one page thing. And so look for that, it's coming. And on Wednesday evening, this is the really fun one this week, we have Judy Hirsch again, who's the heart math coach. And she'll give us a presentation on heart math. Please join us. It's really great. And invite a friend or two. And you can find the information and the links in our newsletter and on Facebook. And I think it'll be really good. And that's it.
Thank you, Yvonne. I appreciate that. Yeah, the essays that I found were on the Science of Mind archives, and they really look exciting. And he has a lot of discussion points and stuff. And it's right from Ernest Holmes, right from the horse's mouth. So that should be fun. Yeah, let's see. I think we'll go back to Relaine for our benediction, and then Richard will take us out with our closing song.
All right, so let's just take a moment to close our eyes and take a collective breath with one another, and to feel that feeling of that state of being, that new state of being for yourself, sort of that box opening up. I really like the opening up all the windows of our minds. So this feeling that openness and that room to breathe and to be anew, let us know that we are so grateful. So grateful for the talk today, so grateful for the inspiration, the creativity, the passion to be ourselves, to be more and more ourselves in everyday moments, with those magnificent gestures and those small gestures of just being ourselves. And so this is good and very good. And I'm so grateful for the music and for everyone that participated. Leslie's beginning invocation and her great quotes, and Michelle's words and all her quotes as well, and her inspirations. And so let us be grateful, and let us know that as we go forward this week, we are excited to explore the new ways to open up our boxes and see life in new ways. And they simply say together, and so it is.
So it is. Thank you, Elaine.
Mhm.
Yeah, go ahead, Richard.
I don't know about you all, but our house is filled with Amazon boxes, all kinds of boxes. Our thoughts are prayers, and we are always praying. Our thoughts are prayers. Take charge of what you say. Seek a higher consciousness, a state of peacefulness, and know that God is always there. And every thought becomes a prayer. Amen.
Thank you, Richard. Thank you.
Uh-huh.
So, Relaine, or not Relaine, Yvonne, do you have the affirmation that we wrote about the expansion of our center? Do you have it close?
I do. I have it right here.
Could you read it?
Sure. Thank you, God, that one heart, one mind doubles or more our Sunday service Zoom attendance by October 2022.
If you would all please say, I'll put it online, I'll send it out. Maybe I'll even put it in the e-newsletter. Hold that space. I know that this philosophy is so transformative, that it has helped me create a life that I love living. And I know that it can do the same for others. And I would like for our reach to expand. I know we're all online right now and that people are anxious to get back together. As a matter of fact, we're going to talk about doing a park visit and some kind of a picnic for the people that are all in our area.
Yeah.
But I would like to see this philosophy touch the hearts of more people. And if we could say that affirmation, we always plant a seed in consciousness, and then invite your friends and relatives to come onto our Sunday service and to share in what we have as a spiritual family. I would really appreciate that. And I know that it would be good for all of us, for the people that are going to attend and for the people that are already present. So thank you. Thank you for that. Does anybody have anything they'd like to share?